Hello friends, my name is Shayla and today I'm here to film the Great Unhaul of 2019. So I've been curating my bookshelf a lot lately and I've not gotten on here and talked about all the things I'm unhauling. Some of this might be repeats from my last unhaul because I haven't made it to donating or taking pictures to sell them or anything like that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and dive right in. There's quite a bit. So the first up is Cloaked by Alex Finn, sorry. And this is just one, it was a fairy tale retelling. I got about halfway through it and got bored. And I don't get bored of retellings easily, so that says a lot to me. Next, we have the first 3 books in the Paper Princess series by Aaron Watt, which is Paper Princess, Broken Prince, and Twisted Palace. These are overly dramatic, overly sexual, and you have a teenager who's having a relationship with an adult and trying to justify it by the second book. And no, I'm not okay with it. So there's a lot of problematic stuff going on in this series. It is something that I thought could be fun, but it ended up being very much not. Reaching in the top and going from there. So I've got a couple volumes of manga here. So I've got the first 2 volumes of Dr. Stone. I did try out this series. It ended up being one that I didn't enjoy as much as I hoped I would. And so, yes, I will not be continuing Dr. Stone. I know it's a big favorite out there. There are just some things within the series that bother me to a point where it makes it not enjoyable. Then we have Spice and Wolf Volume 1. I think on this one, there's a good chance that I will try the light novels instead. There were some overly... She spends half the volume naked. I'm not okay with it. There's that. Next, we have a couple of the Tell It Again books that I read this year. The first one being The Cold Is in Her Bones by Petronella Van Arsdale, if I could say her name. This was a take on the Medusa lore. I ended up not enjoying this as much as I hoped I would, obviously. And it's just one that I won't revisit. I have tried to revisit it. I actually cracked it open in October, hoping I could feel the mood a little bit better, but it just got to a point where it was not okay for me. So yeah, this is just one that's not going to get read on my shelf, so I want to send it somewhere where it will. Next is sadly a signed copy of The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein. This is a horror book. I tried very hard. This was the Tell It Again pick for October, and I didn't enjoy it as much as the other 2 that I buddy read this with. I buddy read it with Lindsay and April, and they both really enjoyed it. And the writing is solid. Like, it's not bad, but I will not revisit this book. So there it goes. Next we have The Chemist by Stephanie Meyer. I picked this up on a whim. I've tried to read it. I was bored to tears. As much as I liked Stephanie Meyer years ago, this book was just a miss for me. I'd rather her stay in paranormal stuff. So this was not it for me. Next we have Raising Fire by James Bennett. This is actually a second book in the series. I meant to pick up the first, and I keep not being able to find the first for a decent price. So I'm just going to go ahead and let book 2 go. And if I ever get a hold of book 1, I can always get a hold of book 2 again. I did pick it up on sale, so it wasn't that bad. This next one is some more manga, and it hurts me a little bit to send this away because I thought I was really loving it, but I ended up not loving it long term. So it is Delicious in Dungeon, the first 3 volumes. I gave it the solid 3-volume try that I try to do with most series. And it's cute. It's a weird twist on a foodie manga. And a, like, isekai almost kind of story. So if you like those things, go ahead and give it a try. I have a lot of friends who really love it, but for me, this one was just a miss. Next, we have a book that I DNF'd this year, and that was Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. I do think this will translate better to a TV show, but I felt like in the writing, I kept getting lost, and that made it unenjoyable for me. So I do plan on checking out the show, but I think for me, the book of this one was just a miss. This is one where it legitimately pains me to send it away, but I know that my mental health can't handle this book, and that is The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez. This is a book that does deal with some infertility things. I tried to read it, and I couldn't get into this. There were some things going on that were very bothersome to me right off the bat, and it just felt insensitive in ways to my situation. So I did not finish this, and I am sending it away. I'm sure someone can find a lot of comfort and a lot of joy in this book, but that person is not me. I don't know why I'm explaining everything to you guys. Sorry. So I have this little pocket edition of Cardcaptor Sakura that I'm going to go ahead and send off. I have the beautiful collector's edition, so I don't feel the need to keep this. I know a lot of people collect all of the versions, so I'll most likely give it to a friend that would want it, or we'll sell it to someone who could genuinely enjoy it rather than just donating it. Next, we have a gift from a client that I'm going to send on to my library so that others can read it. And it's Lies, Love, and Breakfast at Tiffany's. This was 4 stars. I liked it fine. It's just not one that I think I would read again. And I appreciate that my client read it and we had something to talk about. And that, it was fun. It's just not one I'm going to revisit. Next, we have another book that I DNF'd this year, and that is Circle of Shadows by Evelyn Skye. I was buddy reading this with my friend Kira. I don't know why her name wasn't wanting to come to me. Clearly, I'm tired. We were buddy reading this. We both DNF'd it. It was just, we got to a point where, again, we were bored to tears. Next up, I'm really sad that I'm sending this on its way, but I know that it is the right decision for me, and that is the Tales of Shikanoko books 1 and 2. I read through the first book in its entirety. I bought book 2 while I was reading book 1 and really enjoying it. There's something that happens in the end of book 1 that was troublesome to me, and the fallout of what happens in book 1 that I know about from the first part of book 2 makes me know that this isn't a series for me. So I'm going to go ahead and send this on, and I hate to send them away because they are so beautiful, but I just have to do what's best for my library. I'm starting to run out of space, and I just need to truly curate my shelves so that I'm truly happy with them. Next we have Longborn by Jo Baker. This is for fans of Downton Abbey. Back when Downton Abbey was all the rage, I picked this up. And it was fine. It's just one that I don't want to revisit again. That's a lot of these where I got them on sale or whatever, and it's just one that I ended up not wanting to revisit. So I've got some old raggedy mass market paperbacks here that I'm going to send on their way. So we have Turbulent Sea by Christine Feehan, Burning Wild by Christine Feehan, Dance With Me by Luann Rice, Blink by K.L. Slater, Dear John by Nicholas Sparks. Those are all ones that it just feels like the right time to send them on. Smith of Wootton Major by J.R.R. Tolkien. It's a really beautiful edition, and the end pages are stunning. And I got this on Book Outlet for $1 or $2, but it's just one that I keep not getting to. It's been on my shelf for years, and it's going away. I think this is where we're going to run into some repeats, so I'm just going to go through these briefly. So we've got The Book of Speculation by Erica Swiler. Just couldn't get into this one. I have Blackbird Summer by M. Shotwell. I loved this book, but it's one that I have another copy of. Somehow I ended up with 2. I don't remember how, but I'm sending on a duplicate. And then I'm sending on Wayland and its sequel, Seeds of Intention, both by Andrea Tome. She was kind enough to send these to me for review. They were ones that I just didn't particularly enjoy, so I'm actually going to send these on to the library so that they get some love. Next is Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. I don't need to say any more on that. And then I've got Sumberlong by Peter S. Beagle. This is one that I read with April a while back, and it was okay. It just wasn't as good as we were both hoping, so I'm going to send it on. And again, another beautiful cover I'm sending away. That's the thing. All the covers are so pretty these days that it's hard to, justify keeping them on your shelves just because they're pretty. So next we have The Accidental Book Club. I'm just going to blitz through these. Midnight's Eternal Prisoner. This was a little novella that the author sent me, so I'm going to send it to someone who would enjoy it. Then we've got My Lady's Choosing, which is a choose your own adventure romance. And then we've got Fight or Flight by Samantha Young. The protagonist reminds me of my ex-husband and has my ex-husband's next name, so yeah, no. Next is Lady Lady by Sherry Lansing. This is a book that I thought I was going to love and my husband thought I was going to love, but I just ended up not, so we're sending it on. Next we have Gracie's Secret by Jill Childs. This was a nice book, but it's not one I'm going to revisit. Then we've got Between Two Thorns by Emma Newman. I didn't really love it. I tried reading it, got about halfway, and kept putting it down. Next we have Mem by Bethany C. Morrow. I really enjoyed this book, and it's one that I want other people to experience. This was one that I got in a Page Habit box back when Page Habit was a thing, And so I'm going to send it on. Blood of the Four. I tried to read this, kept not reading it. It's going away. I'm sending this on to the library. This is Zero Sum Game by S.L. Huang. I tried to read this, and again, I just wasn't enjoying it. So I'm going to send it on to someone who will. And then we have a graphic novel here that I read, and I liked fine, but I didn't like enough that I want to keep. And that is Twisted Romance. These are 12 tales of love from comics' hottest talents. So all of the art is stunning, but I didn't enjoy all the stories enough that I would like revisit it. So I'm going to send it on. On to the next box. This next grouping is primarily YA titles, so just know that. But we'll start off with Say You Still Love Me by K.A. Tucker. Read this earlier this year, did not enjoy it, sending it on. Then we've got the Anne and the French Kiss trilogy, just books I'm not going to revisit. I've got Catching Fire and Mockingjay here. I had a friend take the Hunger Games off my hands. These are ones that are so prevalent that by the time I have kids, they'll be so easily in libraries, they might even be part of the curriculum, so I don't feel the desire to keep them on my shelf. Next we have Reign of Shadows. I liked it fine, but I just didn't intend to continue on, so I'm sending it on. And then we've got Tiger's Curse by Colleen Hoke. I picked this up on sale, I just kept getting around to not reading it, so I'm going to go ahead and just move on. Oh, never mind, they didn't take Hunger Games off my hands, but it wasn't a matching set anyway, so we're sending this on. And we've got Belle by Cameron Doki. This is fine. I just didn't love it. Then we've got Princess of Thorns by Stacey J. This is one that I bought on Book Outlet forever ago and just never got around to, and I've lost all interest. This is why I've gotten better about my book buying habits. Then I got two that I got in an indie book box, and I liked them well enough, but I do want to put them in a library so that more people are reading them. And that is The Surrendered by Case Maynard, and then we've got And Rule by Holly Sparks. These are both really good. I enjoyed both of them, but again, these are ones that I think more people should be reading, so I want to get them in a library. And then we've got a book of poetry that I've decided to not hang on to, and that is Uncaged Wallflower by Janae Cecilia. I liked it, but I just don't have a desire to keep it. And then we've got Fox by Nadine Brands. I DNF'd this and rather than hate reading it because I felt like there were some things done in the research that were just lazy. So yeah, I'm going to get rid of this. Then we've got Shifters Alliance. This was fine. It's just one that I'm not going to continue. Not exactly a love story. Kind of a quirky little romance. But again, it's one that I'm not going to revisit. And then we got The Crowns of Croswald. This is compared a lot to Harry Potter and just that good middle grade fantasy. It was fine. I don't plan on continuing on in the series. And again, putting it in a library. Then we've got Seven Black Diamonds by Marissa Marr. This is a Peter Pan retelling that I never got around to. I found this for $2, obviously. It's beautiful darkness. I think I'm just going to find a box set of this series if I'm ever going to physically own it, but I do own it all digitally. So I'm going to go ahead and let this one go, because technically it's a duplicate. And then we've got Love and Other Theories by Alexis Bass. This was fine. I just didn't love it. Legacy of Kings by Eleanor Herman. I wanted more from this. It ended up being much more romance dramatic than I was expecting, so there's that. Don't at me, guys. Clockwork Angel. I tried to love it. I'm also unhauling my box set of The Mortal Instruments, so there's that. And then we've got Anna by Megan Riley. This is another one that I just want to get in a library because more people should be reading it. Then The Last Song by Nicholas Sparks. I'm just not revisiting this, so there we go. And then a couple more retellings that I tried to read but never was able to finish. We've got Never Ever, which is a Peter Pan one, and Stealing Snow, which is a Snow Queen retelling. So guys, that is it for this unhaul. And yeah, so that's what's going on. That's the nature of things. I'm getting rid of things that don't make me happy because I'm running out of space. And that doesn't mean these are necessarily bad. They are just not my taste, and that's all. So please don't come after me for this. What's going on, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.